While the Queen's personal life was largely kept private, her passion for horse racing was one love she did share very publicly.
But never behaved as though she'd always been there.
I know.
Extraordinary girl, aren't she? Yes.
Camilla's decision to sell Queen Elizabeth's cherished horses so soon after her funeral has set off a royal firestorm. But the scandal exploded when Princess Anne caught wind of the sale, confronting Camilla in a way that shocked everyone. These horses were more than just animals. They symbolized the Queen's passion and legacy. Anne's fierce reaction has ignited tensions within the royal family, sparking questions about respect and loyalty. But what exactly drove Camilla to make this controversial choice? Stay tuned as we uncover the truth behind this royal drama. Queen Elizabeth's love for her horses. For Queen Elizabeth II, horses were much more than just prized animals. They were beloved companions woven deeply into the story of her life and reign. Her passion for them was not merely a hobby. It became a central element of her legacy, a symbol of her strength, dedication, and unshakable values. Throughout her reign, she made a point of setting aside time from her demanding royal duties to personally care for her horses. She wasn't just a distant figure in the royal stables. She had a deep professional-level knowledge of breeding, training, and horse care, often surpassing many in the field. Her understanding of horses went beyond the ordinary. Those close to her often remarked on her remarkable memory of bloodlines and her ability to match each horse with the perfect trainer. She had an instinctive sense of each animal's temperament and was personally involved in selecting her favorite horses, many of which became iconic symbols of the monarchy. For Queen Elizabeth, her horses were a private refuge, offering her a peaceful escape from the formality and scrutiny that came with royal life. These horses didn't care about titles or politics. They were simply her trusted friends, giving her moments of joy and serenity in a life that was often bound by strict protocol. Riding was her rare opportunity to experience freedom, to be alone with her thoughts, to reconnect with nature and to let the weight of her crown slip away, if only for a brief time. Her love for horses began at an early age. When she was just 4 years old, her grandfather, King George V, gifted her a Shetland pony named Peggy. As she grew, her skills and dedication to horsemanship became evident, and her family supported this special bond. Her passion continued into adulthood, and Queen Elizabeth became a key figure in the British equestrian world. She supported various horse breeds, events, and charities dedicated to the welfare and preservation of horses. The Queen passed down her love of horses to future generations, with both Princess Anne and Princess Zara Tindall becoming accomplished equestrians themselves. The Queen's horses were a reflection of her own character. She was known for carefully selecting animals that demonstrated strength, grace, and character, qualities that mirrored her own approach to her role as monarch. She understood the horses' personalities, their quirks, and their potential. Over the years, she bred hundreds of racehorses, becoming renowned for her meticulous breeding practices. She expertly paired mares and stallions to produce top-performing thoroughbreds, resulting in many victories at prestigious races across the UK. The Queen's stables were not only known for the horses they housed, but also for the deep traditions they symbolized. These stables, with their rich history, kept horses that had been a part of royal events for years, carrying the Queen during grand processions, significant gatherings, and royal occasions. The Queen's funeral marked the close of an era, and her horses seemed like they would always be cared for, as they were a part of the royal legacy she had built with so much love. However, when Camilla decided to sell some of the horses, it sparked feelings of betrayal among both the public and the royal family. The horses, once seen as symbols of royal continuity, quickly became a source of division. placing Prince Anne and Camilla at the center of a very public conflict over the Queen's legacy. These horses were much more than animals. They had a significant role in many iconic royal traditions. One of their most important roles was in the Trooping the Colour ceremony, which takes place every year to celebrate the British monarch's official birthday. This ceremony has been held for centuries and features a stunning display of military precision and pageantry. Soldiers on foot and horseback participate, and the Queen herself often rode in the parade, mounted on one of her favorite horses. Among these was Burmese, a black mare gifted to her by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. For decades, the Queen led this ceremony, and her presence on horseback became a symbol of her reign. The Queen's horses also played a vital part in state occasions, especially during the state opening of Parliament. On this special day, the Queen would travel in a horse-drawn carriage from Buckingham Palace to the Palace of Westminster, signifying her role in the governance of the United Kingdom. The Gold State Coach, an elaborate gilded carriage drawn by Windsor grey horses, carried her along the ceremonial route. The horses, dressed in royal livery, were an integral part of the spectacle. The Windsor Greys, bred and trained specifically for these occasions, were known for their calm demeanor, making them perfect for navigating through the bustling crowds and ceremonial events. The royal horses were also essential during the changing of the guard ceremony, another iconic British tradition that attracts tourists from all over the world. While the ceremony is primarily performed by the Queen's Guard, mounted soldiers from the household cavalry also take part, creating a breathtaking display of British pageantry. The royal horses, marching proudly alongside the foot guards, added an extra layer of authenticity and grandeur to the whole experience. During times of national sorrow, the Queen's horses had an important and respectful role in funeral processions. These majestic animals were chosen to pull the carriages that carried the coffins of the royal family. One notable example was during the funeral of Queen Elizabeth's father, King George VI, and later, the Queen Mother. These horses were specially trained to stay calm and composed, even in the midst of large, somber crowds. So why did Camilla choose to sell them? Let's take a closer look. Camilla's decision to sell the Queen's horses. Not long after Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, reports began to surface about an unexpected decision made by Camilla. She chose to sell several of the late Queen's cherished horses, which had long been seen as part of the Queen's lasting legacy. The horses, beloved by the Queen, were symbols of her devotion to her role, and Camilla's decision to sell them came as a complete shock to many. This move caused an uproar within the palace and stirred up feelings of betrayal, as it was seen by some as a sign of disrespect for the Queen's memory. Sources within the palace revealed that Camilla not only approved the sale, but actively encouraged it, even pushing King Charles to give his approval. Some insiders suggested that Camilla viewed the horses as unnecessary symbols of a past era, or perhaps as valuable assets to be sold for financial gain. Her role in the decision raised questions about her true motivations, with some close to the royal family calling it a cash grab. The sale included over a dozen horses, including two of the Queen's personal favorites, companions that had stood by her side during years of royal duties and personal moments. One person particularly affected by the sale was Princess Anne, the Queen's only daughter and a lifelong equestrian. Anne had shared a deep bond with her mother's horses, understanding the Queen's love for them and the important role they played in her life. The news of Camilla's actions left Anne heartbroken. It felt like a piece of her mother's legacy was being wiped away. Palace sources say that Anne didn't hide her feelings. She openly questioned Camilla's respect for the Queen's memory. This created a tense atmosphere between Anne and Camilla, further straining an already complicated family dynamic. The sale also sparked public outcry. The Queen's horses had been a source of pride for many Britons, symbolizing tradition and the monarchy's continuity. These horses had often appeared at public events, becoming a living testament to the Queen's devotion. For many, their sudden sale felt like an attempt to sever these important links to the Queen's legacy. Speculations surrounding Camilla's motivations only added to the controversy. Some defended her actions, arguing that she was simply managing the royal assets. Critics accused Camilla of putting her personal interests ahead of honoring the late Queen, suggesting that selling such precious and symbolic animals was a calculated, opportunistic move. To make matters worse, the sale occurred so soon after the Queen's death, which made Camilla's intentions appear even more self-serving. Camilla's influence over King Charles in this matter also did not go unnoticed. While Charles shared a fondness for horses, his attachment to them was not as deep as his mother's or his sister's. Some saw his approval of the sale as an effort to modernize the monarchy, streamlining its expenses and adapting to a new era under his reign. However, for many, it seemed like he had allowed a vital piece of his mother's legacy to be discarded, damaging his public image and that of Camilla as well. The public backlash has continued to grow, with media coverage and public opinion now focusing on what many view as a betrayal of the Queen's memory. This scandal has created a public relations nightmare for both King Charles and Camilla, raising concerns about the future of the monarchy under their leadership. What began as a simple decision about a handful of horses has spiraled into a much larger controversy. And the royal family now faces a difficult task of repairing its fractured public image and addressing the growing doubts about loyalty and respect that are now surrounding the new Queen consort. How is Princess Anne reacting to all of this? And what does she think about it? Let's find out. Princess Anne's viewpoint. For Princess Anne, the choice to sell her late mother's beloved horses wasn't just a practical decision, it felt like a heartbreaking betrayal. Anne had always held a special place within the royal family. She shared a lifetime of memories with her mother, Queen Elizabeth, but they also shared a profound love for horses. It was a passion that ran deep through Anne's blood. To see Camilla, someone Anne felt didn't truly understand that bond. To begin to sell the horses felt like an assault on something sacred to Anne, a piece of her mother's legacy. It shook her deeply. From a young age, Anne had been extremely close to her mother. She had grown up in the Queen's shadow, often by her side, even accompanying her to the stables. In those quiet moments, Anne learned not just about horses, but about patience, kindness, and the deep bond between her mother and these creatures. For both the Queen and Anne, horses were a sanctuary, a way to connect, a place where the weight of royal responsibilities could be forgotten, even if just for a little while. In the stables, they weren't royalty. They were simply two individuals who shared an immense love for their loyal animals. This was why Anne felt such a deep betrayal when Camilla decided to sell the horses. It wasn't just about the horses. It was about the bond that had defined her relationship with her mother. Anne couldn't help but feel that Camilla didn't understand what the horses meant. Her decision wasn't just disappointing. It felt like an affront to the very heart of Anne's connection with her family. Sources close to the royal family say Anne even questioned her brother, King Charles, asking how he could support Camilla's decision, reminding him of how much these horses symbolized. To Anne, keeping the horses as part of the royal family would have been a perfect way to honor the Queen's memory, a tribute to her mother's legacy. Selling them, however, felt like erasing that legacy, and Anne couldn't reconcile with that. The Queen had always treated her animals with the same respect and care she showed her people, and this was part of the quiet dignity that defined her reign. Anne knew this better than anyone, which is why the sale felt like a rejection of everything her mother stood for. Anne had always held her mother's values close: duty, integrity, and loyalty. These were principles that she held above public opinion or convenience. Camilla's decision, on the other hand, seemed focused on modernizing the monarchy, adjusting its image, and managing its resources. While some saw this as a pragmatic approach, Anne viewed it as a direct contradiction to the ideals that had always guided the royal family. It felt like a break from tradition, a move that didn't respect the values that had sustained the monarchy for generations. This disagreement has only highlighted deeper tensions within the royal family. The passing of the Queen was meant to bring the family closer, but Camilla's decision to sell the horses has only driven them further apart. Anne has not been shy about expressing her disappointment and her feelings of betrayal. To some, it might seem like a small issue in the grand scheme of the monarchy's future, but for Anne and many others, it's about something far more significant. The Queen's legacy represents the values upon which the monarchy was built: loyalty, resilience, and a commitment to tradition. In one decision, Camilla, and by extension King Charles, have caused a rift that may take years to heal. Princess Anne in control of the remaining horses. After Camilla's controversial decision, Princess Anne took charge to protect the remnants of her mother's legacy. For Anne, this wasn't just a duty, it was a personal mission. She understood the deep significance these horses had and was determined to safeguard them. Her response was quick, thoughtful, and deeply rooted in the same sense of commitment her mother had shown. Anne stepped in immediately, dedicating herself to overseeing the care of the remaining horses, ensuring they would continue to receive the highest standards of attention. With her vast knowledge of horses, she handpicked a team she could trust: skilled trainers and caretakers who not only understood the animals' needs, but also respected their royal significance. Anne's involvement went beyond just care. She meticulously arranged every detail, from their daily routines to planning their future roles in the royal family. Her ultimate goal was to ensure these beloved horses would be well looked after and remain a meaningful part of the monarchy's image. But her efforts didn't stop there. Anne also aimed to keep them in the public eye. She organized charity events and public appearances where the horses could be showcased, continuing the legacy her mother had built of using animals to connect the monarchy with the people. These appearances included royal parades, ceremonies, and charity fundraisers, where the public could see and admire these magnificent creatures. By keeping them in the spotlight, Anne honored her mother's memory while supporting causes that had always been close to both their hearts. The public response to her actions was overwhelmingly positive. Many saw her as a loyal protector of Queen Elizabeth's legacy, someone who respected tradition and history. Anne's swift and dedicated actions were seen as a stand against the changes some felt were undermining the Queen's values. Her commitment to preserving the Queen's legacy brought a renewed sense of unity within the royal family. It encouraged others in the palace to reflect on their own roles in maintaining these time-honored traditions. The horses, which were symbolic of the Queen's legacy, became a unifying point for the royal household. In addition to ensuring their immediate care, Princess Anne also crafted a long-term vision for the horses' future. She established a program to maintain the Queen's stables as a historical treasure and cultural asset. Anne sought partnerships with equestrian charities and animal welfare organizations to ensure that the horses would continue to play an important role in royal duties and public service. As these remaining horses step into future public engagements, They carry not just the memory of Queen Elizabeth, but also the indomitable spirit of Princess Anne, who has shown herself to be a steadfast and worthy protector of her mother's cherished legacy. How is Camilla responding to this whole perception? Let's find out. Drawing lessons from criticisms. In response to the criticism she's faced, Camilla has reportedly reached out to Princess Anne for guidance. Sources close to the royal family suggest that Camilla is now working more closely with Anne to ensure that the Queen's horses are properly cared for and preserved. She is also seeking Anne's advice on how best to honor the traditions these animals represent. This effort to collaborate with Anne is being seen as an important step toward healing relationships within the family. It shows that Camilla understands the deep values of the Queen's legacy and the need for unity among family members. Camilla's efforts to rebuild trust go beyond family matters. She's actively addressing public discontent and making a strong effort to demonstrate her commitment to royal traditions and British heritage. By attending public events and speaking out about her respect for the monarchy's history, she hopes to show her devotion to the Queen's memory and her promise to uphold the values that the royal family stands for. Her focus on honoring Queen Elizabeth's legacy is meant to reframe how the public views her, aligning her actions with what people expect from the monarchy and fostering a renewed sense of respect from royal supporters. Part of this effort includes attending equestrian events and getting involved with organizations that promote animal welfare, causes that the late Queen cared deeply about. By showing up at these events, Camilla is visibly connecting herself with issues that were important to Queen Elizabeth, reassuring the public that, although her earlier actions may have been misunderstood, she is actively learning from the experience and adjusting her approach. While it's still unclear whether Camilla's attempts to change public opinion will fully succeed, her willingness to reflect on her actions and pursue reconciliation has not gone unnoticed. There are signs that her efforts to rebuild trust with Anne and the public may slowly ease the tensions within the royal family. Camilla's response to the backlash reflects a deep understanding of her role as Queen Consort. She seems to recognize that her influence will, in part, depend on her ability to respect the traditions upheld by Queen Elizabeth, while also navigating the complexities of a modern monarchy. Through her recent actions, Camilla is quietly reinforcing her dedication to royal values, hoping to present herself as a Queen Consort who honors the past while leading the monarchy into the future. What do you think about Camilla's shocking decision to sell Queen Elizabeth II's horses? Share your opinion with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.